Hello everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you so much for stopping by. Now today I'm doing an unboxing and a 10 card 1 kit video using the Love from Lizi Special Edition Valentine's Day Vintage Lace Kit. It is a beautiful kit and unfortunately it did sell out. So the 10 cards that I'm going to be doing today is mostly for those of you who purchased the kit or for inspiration. So let's just jump in. I'm going to give you a quick overview of what came in the kit. You get 5 pieces of specialty cardstock. This is beautiful, thick cardstock. It's got a beautiful shimmer to it. Beautiful colors, and they're 8.5 by 11. And so I'm going to use those to create my card bases today. Now you also get 3 12 by 12 sheets of pattern paper. Now these sheets, 3 of them are cutouts. On the back side has some beautiful patterns to them. This is the back side. And this is another sheet here of the 12 by 12 cutouts. Perfect for card making. Beautiful Valentine's theme with a vintage feel. Love this. And then on the reverse side is a beautiful larger floral pattern paper here. And this is the third sheet of your cutouts. Now beautiful tags, and the neat thing is they look like kind of like lace or not lace, leather. So, and then on the back side is some real pretty black lace pattern. Now you get a 12 by 12 sticker sheet. 2 of the stickers on it are a little bit large for card making, but it'd be great for scrapbooking. But the rest of the images are perfect for card making. And then you also get your alphabet stickers here. There's 2 long borders on the side of that sticker sheet also. But that's your sticker sheet. So we'll just set that underneath there, and then we'll take a look at the 6 by 6 pattern paper. Now you get 12 sheets, and these are of course smaller scaled, perfect for cards. And so you get a lot of roses, floral pattern, along with it kind of reminded me of like a shabby chic country kind of a feel, but blues and greens and pinks and reds. So this is your pattern paper. And then you get a Love from Lizi exclusive stamp set. This one's called Vintage Lace and has 2 beautiful lace borders on it, along with 6 Valentine themed sentiments with beautiful font. So that's, I'm sorry about the glare. I'm going to put a block under here just to prevent it from blinding you. But that's your stamp set. Now in this collection you also get 21 piece button set, but it doesn't even have all buttons. You get a few chipboard stickers that are banners and flags, along with some wood buttons, which are really nice. You get a custom coordinated sequin mix that goes perfectly with all the pattern papers. And then you also get 2 of the heart dies. One will cut out a solid heart, and then the other one will cut out a real pretty lace heart. And the nice thing about these is you can put them both together to create a nice little element for any card. So you get 2 dies with that. Real pretty. So that's everything that came in the special edition kit, and I am sorry it did sell out, but I did create card bases with the specialty cardstock. Those will be my card bases today. And so we're going to jump in with card number 1. I'm going to trim out one of these tags here. I'm just going to fussy cut around it. And then just to clean it up and give it a finished look, I'm going around the edges with my Vintage Photo Distress ink. Lovely. Now you'll see on the corners it looks like they actually look like real brads, but I thought, well, why not put real brads in there? So in my stash I had some gold brads. I just used my crocodile and punched holes in there, and then added 4 gold brads to each of those corners. And I think it just adds a little nice little texture element to your card. Okay, now we need some pattern paper. So I chose this one. It has the real pretty rose pattern on it. And what I'm going to do is trim out a panel. Now my panel for this card is going to be, I believe it is 4 by 5 1/4. So it's going to leave me a little bit of a border around my card base. And then I also cut out a piece of this pattern paper here. I just created one of those strips. Lovely. I placed it to the left of my card, just using my tape runner, and then I'm going to trim off any of the excess. And I think that's going to look really nice there. So I'm going to end up popping that up with some foam tape and placing that directly on my panel. Now to fill in the center circle, I'm going to use one of the chipboard buttons. There's a floral pattern button that matches my pattern paper back there perfectly, so I'm going to use that one. And actually the sticky backing came off the button when I pulled it off, but that's a good thing because I'm going to thread it with some brown jute cord that I had in my stash. I just doubled it up and I tied a bow with it, and then I added a foam square behind there to lift it up a little bit and place that right in the center. I was going to add one more button but then decided not to. I'm going to flip this panel over and add some foam tape behind it, and then I'm going to place this directly in the center of my bronze card base. And I think those gold brads go really good with my card base there. Here's a close-up. Okay, now we're going to just move along to card number 2. I'm going to use a few of the cut-aparts. I'm going to cut out the word love here. And then I'm going to use the solid heart die, and I'm going to use the center of that cutout there and cut out a brown heart. And then I'm also going to take the larger panel and I'm going to fussy cut around the roses and also that real pretty border there. Now I popped all of those up with some foam tape, and now we need some pattern paper. I chose this little polka dot one, and I'm just trimming out a panel. This one is actually 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, so it's going to cover the entire card base. And I decided to use the green card base for this one. I'm just using my tape runner, and I'm going to add that directly on my card base. Okay, now I'm going to remove the backing off of my foam tape and place this element right in the center. And then I'm going to add my little heart. Now I didn't show it, but I did take my white gel pen and I did a little bit of faux stitching around that solid brown heart there. Now for the bells and whistles, I'm going to grab our little button sheet, and I'm going to take 2 of the pink buttons and then 1 of the red ones and add those to the center of that area there. And then I took a little piece of natural twine and I tied a bow, and then I just kind of cheated and stuck it right in the center of one of the buttons. And that's it for that card. I think it turned out really pretty. Here's a close-up. Okay, now for card number 3, I wanted to keep this card really simple because I really loved this cutout. I love the black background on it. So I'm just going to take the sentiment in the stamp set that says, really pretty. It says always and forever. I'm going to stamp that right in the center of this cutout. Now for my background, I chose this pattern paper. I'm going to trim this out, and this one is going to be cut out to 4 by 5 1/4. It's going to leave me a 1/4 inch border on my card base. For my card base, I'm going to use the black pearlescent cardstock here. Using my tape runner, I'm just going to adhere the pattern paper directly on my card base. Now I added some fun foam behind my panel, and I'm going to place that not in the center. I actually raised it just a little bit. Lovely. Now to give a little bit of bling, I went through the sequins and I actually picked out all the pink creamy colored sequins, and I added 5 of them directly on top of the panel. And then for a little bit more shimmer, I'm going to go in with my Spectrum Noir sparkle pen and go around those roses. But that's it for that card. It was very simple, but it really is so pretty. Very vintagey. I love the look of this. Okay, now for my next card, I'm going to take the red pattern paper and I'm going to adhere it to the top part of my green card base. Now, any excess I'm just going to trim off. And then also in the 6x6 pattern paper was a smaller scaled of that lace pattern here. I'm just following one of the curves around, and then I'm going to add that to the bottom part of my green card base. I want to use this sticker that came in the sticker sheet. I just turned it so it was going vertical, and I did pop it up with some foam tape. For a little bit of embellishment, I added one of the red buttons right in the center, and I'm just going to leave this one as it is. I think the lace, it just kind of speaks for itself. Okay, now for our next card, I wanted to use the blue card base, but I wanted to stamp directly on it. I wanted to use one of the lace patterns that came in the stamp set. So I used the smaller one, and I'm going to place this to the left, and I did place it to the right also, but I did one at a time. But I'm going to stamp it with my VersaFine ink, making sure I use my anti-static pattern tool. I'm going to go over that entire image and stamp it. Like I said, I did stamp the left and the right. I just did it in 2 different steps. But it was a beautiful lace pattern. I'm going to add some clear embossing powder. And then I'm just going to melt that. So you can see I have it to the left and to the right. For this card, I'm going to be making a side folding card, and I think that lace is gorgeous. Okay, now I wanted a piece of pattern paper to fit down the middle here. So I'm going to go in with this real pretty blue pattern paper, and then I'm also going to cut out a little panel using some of that floral pattern paper. Now I'm going to cut out a strip. This strip is 2 inches by 5.5. And then I also cut out a little rose panel that was 4 1/4 by 2 inches. I wanted to use the blue sticker that came in the sticker sheet, but I wanted to add some of this sheer black lace, ribbon that I had in my stash. I thought it went really well with the lace on my card base. So I'm just using my Crop-A-Dile and punching some holes on the left and the right of that sticker. And then I popped it up, placed it in the center of my pattern paper, and then threaded the ribbon through it, and then wrapping it around the back there. I think that looks real pretty. I'm going to trim off the excess, and then just using my foam tape, I'm going to add a piece of foam tape behind there, and I'm going to pop that up and place it directly in the center of my panel, right in between the stamped laces there. I did take that sheer ribbon from my stash, and I tied a little bow. I did notice in the sequin mix there's a bunch of different sized hearts, so I thought putting a little heart in the center of the sentiment would look real pretty. So I just popped that up and placed one of the hearts in the center. And then there's a little sticker tag that came in the sticker sheet. I'm going to add that tag to my card as well. I just popped it up with some foam tape. And then there's no hole in the top part of the tag, but if I'm going to add the bow right where the hole would be, just using a glue dot. Then I'm going to trim the tails of my bow there, and that's it for that card. Here's a close-up. Okay, now we're going to move along. Now, for our next card, I wanted to use the inside part. I wanted to use the pink pattern paper on this cutout here, and then I want to cut out 2 hearts, 1 solid and 1 lace on the red pattern paper too. So there's my hearts. Now I'm going to layer them together, but with opposites. So I'll have a pink heart and then I'll have a red heart, but with the opposite backgrounds. And I just used my tape runner. Lovely. I think those hearts are so pretty. Okay, now I need my pattern paper. Now I chose this one that had the Valentine words all over it, and I'm just trimming out my panel. Now this panel is 4 inches by 5 1/4, and then I also cut out 2 strips of that kind of braided pattern paper. I'm going to place one to the left of my panel, And then I'm going to crisscross it with the second one towards the bottom. Lovely. I'm going to trim off the ends here. I'm going to add some tape behind this panel, and I'm going to place this on the bronze colored card base. Right in the center there. Okay, I grabbed this sticker and I'm going to fussy cut around it. I just want the word love. And then I did pop that up with some foam tape and place that right in where the corners meet there, along with those hearts. And that's it for that card. Okay, now for card number 7, I'm going to use a strip again of this braided paper. I'm going to place it to the left of this real pretty, it's like a cross between a tan and a pink pearlescent cardstock, so I'm going to use this one. And then I'm going to fill in the rest of this open area with this real soft pink pattern paper. I'm just going to trim off the excess here. And then in the stamp set was this really pretty sticker. It's pretty large, but I thought it would go perfect on this card here. So just to accent it, I went in and with some larger gold brads that I had in my stash, I just punched some holes and then I want to add those large brads. I think this adds a nice little element to the cards. Now I did add some foam, fun foam behind this panel. I'm just trimming down the brads a little bit. And I'm going to place the large sticker right there. And I'm going to leave it as that. Sometimes simple is better, and I think that looks gorgeous. So that's it for that card. Okay, now we're going to move along to our next card. I wanted some brown paper, and so I decided to use, this is a 1-inch circle punch, and I cut out 4 circles. And I used some of the tags that I didn't think I would use, like the longer ones that you would normally use for scrapbooking. So I cut out 4 little circles and I attached them to the bottom of this blue panel here. Now this blue panel is 3.5 inches by 4.25 inches long. And then I really would like to use this heart cut out. So I'm just going to fussy cut my little heart out. And also the green sentiment that says love on it. I'm just going around the edges with my vintage photo to bring in all that brown. And then I'm going to pop both of these elements up just using some foam tape. I placed the heart in the center, and then I adding my little love sentiment right in the center of the heart. And then I'm going to use one of the stickers. This one says you and me, but I just want the you. So I'm going to add a piece of foam tape behind it and place that right below the love, so it says love you, and then all the browns kind of tie in together. Okay, now I wanted to bring in some green, so in the pattern paper there's this real pretty striped paper, so I'm gonna find the green element in that paper and I'm just gonna cut out a strip. And then using my tape runner, I'm going to adhere that on the seam of where my scallop is and where the blue paper is. Just kind of tying everything together. Now I did add a bow with my brown jute cord. I just doubled it up and tied a bow on that seam as well. Lovely. Now I'm going to flip this over, add some foam tape behind it, and place this on the real pretty blue card base. I did go in with some glossy accents over those little hearts on each side of my little U, and that's it for that card. I am so sorry about the wind in the background. I don't know if you guys can hear it or not, but it's a very windy day today, so I'm sorry about that. Okay, for card number 9, I took a piece of the 12 by 12 pattern paper and cut out a strip of that real pretty lacy pattern there, and I attached it to a piece of the red 6x6 pattern paper there, and then I trimmed down a panel. Now this panel is 4 inches by 5.25, and then I'm going to stamp my sentiment. The sentiment here says love and be loved with my VersaFine ink, and then I wanted to add just something else here. So I decided to take the other lace stamp in the stamp set that I haven't used. It's really pretty, and I'm gonna stamp that again with some VersaFine ink on the very top part of that red pattern paper there. And I think that went really nicely. Okay, now in my stash again, I have some black sheer ribbon. I'm gonna take that ribbon and wrap it around the seam here, and I'm just going to tie a knot with it. In that button set, there was a wooden button. Well, I guess it's not really a button, but it just had a circle hole in the middle, but it had the black lace pattern in there. I'm just going to grab both of the ends of my ribbon and thread it through that hole in the center. There is the sticky back, so I punched through it with my craft pick, and then I'm going to pull that knot up through that hole. That way it kind of lays flat against this panel. I'm going to add a glue dot, and just to make that wooden button stay secure so it doesn't move around. Then I'm going to go ahead and tie my bow. Okay, trim off my tails. I think that looks real pretty. I'm going to flip it over and add some fun foam behind it. And then for this card base, I'm going to be using the black pearlescent card base. And that's it for that card. Very, very elegant, I think. Okay, here's a close-up of this one. Now, for our final card, I want to use this real pretty floral pattern paper, but I'm going to create a frame. The outside frame that I'm going to be using is 4 by 5 1/4, and then the inside rectangle die that I used was a 2 1/4 inch by 3 1/2 inch. So I'm going to use this real pretty pinkish tannish pearlescent card base, and I did cut out a panel. In the cutouts, they had this panel that had the roses around it. I thought it was really pretty. So I popped up my frame panel with some foam tape and placed it right in the center. Next, I'm going to take the wooden button that's in there. It's so pretty and I really wanted to use it, and I just stuck it to that bottom corner. And then I thought it needed a sentiment, so I grabbed one of the cut-aparts, and you can see here I added a piece of the natural jute cord in the center of the button. But I'm using one of the cut-aparts, and this cut-apart says always and forever. I just trimmed it down a little bit, added some foam tape right behind it, and I'm going to tuck it at an angle right behind that button. And that's it for that card. Very simple and easy, but real pretty. But here's a close-up. I want to give you a quick look at all 10 cards that I made today using the Love from Lizi Valentine kit called Vintage Lace. Again, I am so sorry that it did sell out. It was a fun kit, and I could see how come it did. But I thank you so much for stopping by, guys. Let me know what you think. Leave me a thumbs up. If you're new and want to see more, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I wish you a fantastic day, and thank you so much for stopping by, guys. Bye-bye.